Caitlin Clark to the New York Liberty? Confirmed? You guys? The photo circulating went viral of Caitlin Clark in the bowels of the Barclays Center with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello and Breanna Stewart.
The basketball world is buzzing, and with good reason. What started as a simple post-game tunnel interaction has now exploded into the biggest story in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, the superstar guard still under contract with the Indiana Fever, was spotted in what appeared to be a private meeting with New York Liberty stars Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu, along with their head coach Sandy Brondello. No cameras were supposed to be rolling, but a leaked video clip has sparked speculation like wildfire. Was this just a friendly chat among competitors, or something much bigger? A recruitment pitch? A future alliance forming? One thing is clear: Caitlin Clark's presence, both on and off the court, is reshaping the WNBA conversation in real time.
Well, we're going to talk about this little scene that took place after the Fever game last night in New York between Sandy Brondello and Caitlin Clark, the New York Liberty, and the agent. The agent. That is what makes this so interesting.
But this wasn't just any casual conversation between competitors. This was Caitlin Clark's agent, Aaron Kane, standing right there in the mix, turning what could have been friendly small talk into something much bigger. His presence changes everything. Now every WNBA fan is asking the same question: is the biggest name in women's basketball already planning her exit from Indiana?
Many people is insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to plan the outs of Indiana. Yes. People is already saying that Caitlin Clark could be trying to get the hell out of Indiana.
After the Liberty's dominant 98-77 victory over the Indiana Fever on Wednesday night, something unprecedented happened in the tunnel area of Barclays Center. While Clark sat out the game due to a recurring groin injury, she still made the trip to New York, a move that already had fans talking. But what happened next sent the basketball world into a frenzy.
A WNBA team that have been very, very, very much in, they made it clear that they want Caitlin Clark, or they're eventually going to want Caitlin Clark. Along those lines, they made it very, very clear. And that team is the New York Liberty. And today, we have just seen the New York Liberty players, after the game, meeting up with Caitlin Clark. It is Stewie. It is Sabrina Ionescu. There is Sandy Brondello. And by the way, Stewie is not leaving New York the rest of her career. That is one thing that I will be 199.
Clark and her agent Aaron Kane were spotted in what appeared to be an intimate conversation with Liberty coach Sandy Brondello, alongside stars Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The optics were striking and deliberate. This wasn't some casual hallway run-in. This looked like a calculated meeting between a rising superstar, her representation, and what many consider the premier organization in women's basketball.
New York Liberty sent the Blitz. Sandy, Sab, and Stewie are all talking to Caitlin Clark in the tunnel. So my guess is this right here happened at the conclusion of the game. This, my friends, is currently going viral all over social media right now. That is Caitlin Clark immediately after the game. Now, what's crazy is that her team lost the damn game, but Caitlin is all smiles. She's all smiles.
The Liberty players and Clark were all smiles, creating a viral moment that had fans instantly speculating about what was being discussed. For a player who has faced relentless adversity from opponents, seeing her so at ease with the Liberty's leadership group was both a reassuring sight for her supporters, and a chilling one for Fever fans.
This is how it starts in sports. This is how it starts in the NFL. This is how it starts in the NBA. When you start seeing the wheels in motion, there's signs. There's signs before eventually a player gets traded. A player eventually marks their next destination. The Indiana Fever, you're on notice. You're on notice. You better recognize what you've got going on, the asset in front of you, and you do whatever you have to do to correct what is happening.
If you are enjoying, please subscribe. Let's be honest about what's happening in Indiana. The Fever entered the 2025 season with championship aspirations, rolling out a bold, "Now you know" campaign that promised dominance. They added veteran players like Dana Bonner and Natasha Howard, hoping to build a title contender around their superstar. But here's the reality: the Fever currently sit at 12-11, struggling to find their identity. They've been plagued by injuries, with Clark missing 11 games due to various ailments. Even when she's healthy, the team can't seem to find consistency. One night they look like contenders, the next they're getting blown out by teams they should beat.
Imagine getting on national TV, being paid by ESPN, paid by CBS, and have the nerve to look at the viewing public, lie to them, and say the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin Clark. I'm curious, are those same people going to be on TV this evening, tomorrow morning? Are they going to look in the camera and double down on the Indiana Fever are more dangerous without Caitlin?
The organization's handling of Clark has been questionable from the start. The WNBA launched an investigation into alleged fan behavior at a Fever game, only to find no substantiated evidence. The league's treatment of Indiana's fan base, the same fans who brought record viewership and attendance to the WNBA, has been tone-deaf at best. Meanwhile, Stephanie White's coaching approach has been to fit Clark into her system, rather than building the system around a generational talent. White is designing a system and trying to force Caitlin Clark to adapt to it, instead of crafting a system tailored to her strengths. That's coaching malpractice when you have the most marketable player in the league.
I think the obvious issue is Stephanie White is so stubborn to fit a circle in a square peg instead of utilizing the strengths of the team. And she probably felt relief because Caitlin Clark was hurt, that, oh, this is my time, I can introduce the culture and the system. And some actually bought in. And then when Caitlin Clark comes back, she doesn't know how to use her. That's not.
Now, let's compare Indiana's struggles with what's happening in New York. The Liberty aren't just the defending WNBA champions, they're a franchise built to dominate for years. With a core of Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquil Jones, they've assembled what many consider a true super team. Head coach Sandy Brondello is a proven winner, a two-time WNBA champion known for putting players in positions to thrive rather than forcing them into rigid systems. Her player-first approach has translated into consistent playoff success. The Liberty's roster construction is also far ahead of Indiana's. They've surrounded their stars with high IQ, complementary pieces. Natasha Cloud brings veteran leadership and elite defense. Leonie Fiebig adds international flair and versatility. Even bench players like Kennedy Burke and Maureen Johannes contribute championship pedigree and stability. But what truly sets New York apart is their culture. Stewart has spoken about instilling a championship mindset, and it's clear that mentality flows through every level of the organization. They're not just chasing one title, they're building a dynasty.
But the Liberty have shown her love. We've seen that as a bit of a theme. There was the moment between Stewie and Clark when Clark came back from injury the first time. And then there were some nice words. I missed the moment myself of them posted up there for a second. But there were some nice words from Liberty coach Sandy Brondello that I did capture. And I thought they
Imagine Caitlin Clark running point for a team that already features Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. The basketball would be poetry in motion. Clark's elite court vision and playmaking would unlock a new level of offensive firepower, creating open looks for Stewart's versatile scoring and Ionescu's lethal three-point shooting. It would be the most dynamic offense the WNBA has ever seen, but this isn't just about the on-court product. The Liberty operate in the nation's largest media market, backed by ownership that understands the business of star power. Clara Wu Tsai and Joe Tsai, who also own the Brooklyn Nets, have invested heavily in building a championship-caliber organization. From top-tier facilities to elite coaching and player development, Barclays Center offers a world-class fan experience that dwarfs what Clark currently has in Indianapolis. The Liberty have built a culture that attracts stars and empowers them to thrive. From a basketball perspective, the fit is flawless. Clark's strengths, vision, shooting, tempo control, complement Stewart's dominance and Ionescu's sharpshooting perfectly. The floor spacing alone would be a nightmare for opposing defenses. You can't double anyone. You can't sag off anyone. You just pray they miss.
I think there is a 50-50 chance Caitlin Clark leaves Indiana after a rookie season. No, after rookie season, after rookie contract is up. Because I have a feeling that with all the restricted free agency and everything, I think they're going to try to get rid of all coring out of the CBA. I don't think coring is going to be a thing. I don't think coring is going to be a thing in the CBA. And obviously, look, you're going to have to core players. And they're going to have to core Aaliyah a year earlier than Caitlin. And if they're scared Aaliyah's going to leave, and if they're like, oh, we want to core and trade Caitlin, then Aaliyah leaves for nothing. And Caitlin leaves for nothing. So it's a bit of a weird one.
The league office has to be quietly terrified and thrilled at the same time. A potential Caitlin Clark, Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu trio wouldn't just shift the balance of power in the WNBA, it would break it. This wouldn't be a super team. It would be the team. A dynasty in the making. Clark already led the league in assists as a rookie while also ranking among the top scorers. Stewart is a two-time champion and MVP with unmatched versatility. Ionescu is a record-breaking sharpshooter with the ability to stretch defenses like few others. Put all three together, and you're not just building a contender, you're building a juggernaut. A team that could dominate the league for years. Everyone else playing for second, but here's the twist, while the WNBA prides itself on competitive balance, they might actually want this. Clark joining New York would instantly turn every Liberty game into a headline event. The league's biggest star in its biggest market, playing alongside two other icons, in front of sold-out crowds at Barclays Center. That's a ratings goldmine. It would bring national attention, more lucrative TV deals, and a flood of new fans, because sometimes, one unstoppable team is exactly what a league needs to go mainstream.
People is insinuating. They're insinuating that Caitlin Clark could be trying to get the hell out of Indy. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. Your boy John Liquidator definitely want her to get out of Indy, bro. And it's this photo right here that is really heating up. I mean, this one right here is really breaking the bank, bro. Look, Sandy Bordello got her hand all on Caitlin, bro.
The elephant in the room is whether this interaction crosses the line into tampering under WNBA rules. The league has clear policies prohibiting teams from communicating with players under contract with other franchises. Violations can result in hefty fines, loss of draft picks, or other penalties, but here's the catch, proving tampering is incredibly difficult. Players and coaches talk all the time. Opponents share moments in tunnels, post-game handshakes, and even off-season events. The league would need hard evidence, audio, texts, or witness accounts, confirming that a recruiting pitch was made. Without that, a tunnel meetup, even one involving Clark's agent, doesn't meet the threshold for punishment. Still, the optics are undeniably bad. A star player, sidelined with injury, appearing post-game in a seemingly coordinated conversation with a rival team's coach and top players. That sends a message. Not just about Clark's potential interest elsewhere, but about Indiana's current instability. Even if this wasn't tampering, it felt like a preview. A quiet signal that change may be coming, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for the power structure of the entire WNBA.
It's a weird situation, but you can see, and this is one of the more important things. You see this right here? You see this right here? This is Caitlin's agent. This is Caitlin Clark's agent. So Caitlin Clark's agent is involved in, you know, meeting up with, or in this meeting, whatever it is, whether it's a meeting or just a chat, Caitlin's agent is there. That's her freaking agent. Looks like it. CC to Liberty, CC to New York.
The relationship between Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White may appear harmonious on the surface, but cracks are starting to show. White continues to emphasize fitting Clark into her existing system, rather than designing a system around Clark's once-in-a-generation skill set. That's a fundamental miscalculation. White's system relies heavily on ball movement and balanced contributions, which sounds good in theory, but it undercuts what makes Clark special. She's most dangerous when the offense flows through her, when she's creating off the dribble, orchestrating the tempo, and making defenders pay from anywhere on the floor. Limiting that for the sake of structure isn't coaching, it's containment. White's public remarks about protecting Clark's peace and helping her manage everything reveal a mindset that sees Clark as a player to be handled delicately rather than fully unleashed. That's a huge red flag. A player like Clark doesn't need protection, she needs opportunity. Contrast that with Sandy Brondello's track record. She's led elite talents like Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner, players known for dominating games and demanding the spotlight. Brondello's approach has always been about empowering stars, not restricting them. Her philosophy is simple: put your best players in position to thrive and let them lead. Clark doesn't need a leash. She needs a system that trusts her, empowers her, and gets out of her way. Right now, she doesn't have that in Indiana.
If Stephanie White believes that this team is better with Ari McDonald in, blah, 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 if she shares the same views as Carolyn Peck, you fire her on the spot. I don't care if she is an Indiana Fever alum. You fire her on the spot. And anybody else in the organization that shares that same belief set. I mean, these Stephanie White truthers, no surprise, she checks boxes, and they're the old WNBA fandom that thinks Stephanie White's getting a raw deal right now. It's so obvious she don't know what she's doing. She don't know what she's doing with this kind.
Let's be honest, the difference between playing in Indianapolis and New York is night and day. Yes, Indianapolis has embraced Caitlin Clark and the Fever. But at the end of the day, it's a small market with limited reach. New York, on the other hand, is the largest media market in the country. It's where stars become icons. The Liberty offer Clark something Indiana simply can't: massive visibility, access to elite sponsorships, and media coverage that stretches beyond basketball. She's already the most marketable player in the WNBA, but put her in New York, and that marketability explodes. We're talking about millions in added endorsement value, branding power, and long-term legacy potential. From an infrastructure standpoint, the Liberty have spared no expense. Their facilities are state-of-the-art. Their coaching staff is elite. Ownership is deeply invested in winning now and building for the future. Everything about the organization screams championship culture. That if Clark were to join the Liberty, the league's entire landscape would shift. Suddenly, you'd have a super team, a WNBA version of the Golden State Warriors. A franchise so stacked with talent, so cohesive in its vision, that they'd walk into every game as favorites. The competitive implications? Massive. Other teams would be forced to make bold, dramatic moves just to keep up. Because with Clark, Stewart, and Ionescu on the same team, everyone else would just be playing catch-up.
I think this is really bad what's going on with Caitlin Clark. I'm really concerned as a fan, as a basketball fan. I'm really concerned. I hope it's not serious. I hope it was just a little strain and she just needs rest. I just hope it's minor. We don't know what's going on, but man, imagine if Caitlin Clark misses the whole entire All-Star game. Wow. That could be a possibility. If that happens, this is nothing but Kathy Engelbert's fault. You got these garbage refs that don't protect the players. You allow players do what they want to do. You don't
level. That depth matters, not just in X's and O's, but in managing egos, pressure, and expectations. The Liberty aren't just prepared for greatness, they're structured for it. The fan reaction tells the full story of what Clark truly means to the league. Her supporters aren't just fans of Indiana, they're fans of her. And after watching her shoulder a struggling franchise, miss games due to injury, and be underutilized in a system not built for her, they're hungry to see her unlocked on the biggest stage possible. That hunger is amplified by the idea of seeing her alongside Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. For Liberty fans, it's a dream lineup. For neutral fans, it's a spectacle. For Fever fans, it's a nightmare. Indiana has built its entire brand revival around Caitlin Clark. She's the face of the franchise, the reason for record ticket sales, and the centerpiece of a national media wave. If they lose her, they lose more than a player, they lose momentum, relevance, and trust. That's why the panic is real. Meanwhile, Sandy Brondello is quietly emerging as the ideal coach for someone like Clark. Her track record, coaching legends like Diana Taurasi, winning championships, and crafting systems tailored to star talents, makes her uniquely qualified to elevate Clark's game. She wouldn't just use Clark as a piece in a larger puzzle, she'd build around her strengths and let her lead. In many ways, this situation is a referendum on two different organizational philosophies, one that tries to mold a star into its system, and one that builds the system around the star. The question now is, how long will Caitlin Clark stay in a place that doesn't treat her like the generational talent she is?